He forgot to hang up. That's how it began. The line crackled, then went silent for a beat, long enough for me to think the call had ended. Then I heard his voice, calm, certain. "She's a burden, Martha, always has been. I told you, after she's gone, we'll finally live." My breath didn't move. He wasn't talking about someone else. He was talking about me. When I was younger, my dad used to say I was his pride. I believed him. He'd hold my report cards like trophies, tell everyone how his girl was sharp, driven, unbreakable. Back then, I thought love meant being useful. When Mom died, I sold my apartment and moved back in. He said he needed me, that the house felt too big, too empty. I didn't hesitate, not for a second. I cooked, I cleaned, I paid the bills. He said he'd pay me back once the inheritance settled. I didn't mind, he was my father. Then came Martha, the old friend from the club. She was charming, polished, the kind of woman who laughed too loud at bad jokes. At first, I thought she made him happy. But happiness turned into distance, whispers behind closed doors, vacations I wasn't invited to, and finally, that phone call. I sat in the kitchen after it ended, the phone still warm in my hand. My reflection in the glass window looked like someone else, someone done waiting to be loved. I didn't cry. I started planning. The next morning, I packed a small bag and drove to the house I bought 5 years ago, the one he never knew about. My $980,000 home paid for in cash under a trust he never traced. It was supposed to be my retirement nest. Now it was my stage. I moved quietly, changed mailing addresses, transferred ownerships, canceled joint accounts, sold the car he used in my name. Every transaction left a trail, but not to me. Each step was deliberate, surgical. Then I listed the house they lived in, the one I'd helped renovate, maintain, and pay taxes on, as for sale by owner. Dad had put it under my name years ago, for tax reasons. He must have forgotten that. The irony tasted sweet. Within weeks, the deal closed. I transferred the money, liquidated the accounts, and vanished. No calls, no warnings, just silence. They were in Europe when it happened. Italy, I think. I'd seen the pictures on Martha's Facebook. Matching linen outfits, wine by the sea, captions like, "Living free, freedom." I almost laughed. When they landed back home 2 months later, I was parked down the street. I watched from behind tinted glass as they approached the gate, pulling luggage, still tan, still smiling. Dad reached for his keys. The lock didn't turn. He tried again, then again. Martha frowned. He cursed. They knocked, then pounded. Finally, he peered through the window. The house, their house, was empty. Every piece of furniture, every memory, gone. All that remained was a single white envelope taped to the wall inside. I could see his hands shake as he tore it open. The note was short. Surprise, a burden did this. He tried calling me. I didn't answer. He called the police. They couldn't help. Everything was legal. Every signature, every sale, every cent was mine. By the time he realized the accounts were drained, I'd already transferred the funds to an offshore trust. The house I'd bought? Sold. Cash converted. Name erased. I left nothing behind. You'd think I'd feel guilt. Maybe I should. But guilt is for those who still care. I stopped the night I realized love shouldn't sound like a transaction. For months, he'd told people I was unstable, ungrateful. Maybe he believed it. Maybe that's easier than facing what he did. Let him think that. Let her comfort him. They deserve each other. Two people who mistake cruelty for honesty and manipulation for love. I live quietly now. Different name, smaller place, no photos, no reminders. Sometimes I think about that call, his voice, the ease with which he erased me. And I wonder, was I ever more than a placeholder in his life? But then I remember his face at that window. The shock, the panic, the realization that the burden he dismissed had outsmarted him. That was the moment I finally felt weightless. Justice doesn't always wear a badge. Sometimes it looks like silence, like a locked door and an empty house echoing with regret. He taught me that love can be conditional. I taught him consequences can be permanent. And maybe that's the only kind of closure people like us ever get. I didn't ruin his life out of hate. I simply returned everything he left me: emptiness, coldness, and a key that no longer fits.